Hi, you guys. Welcome to YouTube on Main Street. We are getting our panelists set up with wine, which makes me very happy. This is my kind of group of ladies. So welcome. My name is Marley Ellis. I work on the creative marketing team at YouTube, and I'm really super excited to have you guys all here tonight for an evening of women in film. It's a topic that's really near and dear to our hearts here at YouTube. We're so passionate about supporting women in film and media, and really proud that we're a platform that has given voice to hundreds of thousands of women around the world who have told their stories and built audiences. And super excited to have this group of ladies to share their experiences. We have Ann Hubbell as our fearless moderator. She's here for her 20th Sundance. So she has lots of wisdom to share. And she's also the founder of Tangerine Entertainment, let me see if I get it right, a production company and community builder for women directors. So I'm going to turn it over to her to introduce this team. Thank you all.
Okay, how's this? You guys can hear me? Great. Thank you. We need a little more room for the wine cups, too. I want to talk briefly about Tangerine because we launched this company 1 year ago today here just up the block on Main Street. And we, along with my producing partner in crime, Amy Hobby, we wanted to start a company, and we wanted it to have a focus and some meaning for us. And so we decided that we were only going to work with women directors and make commercially viable, entertaining films of all genres. Our only criteria is that it has to be a woman at the helm.
You like that?
Yeah, mainly narrative work. So very quickly in the first year, our first film went to the Toronto Film Festival, and IFC will release it in May. And we have 2 films we're executive producing right now. We have a partnership with MoMA. Thank you, Rajroy. And we've been working with Fandor and a couple of other companies, and we are so excited that YouTube asked us to come do this. So a big round of applause for YouTube for doing this for us tonight. It's a big deal for us. But there's one quick thing that I want to talk about because we're very much about community supporting community. And so we started a fund for women directors called the Juice Fund. And the Juice Fund works like this. It's a tax-deductible, donation-based fund. So you all can give, and then that money will go to first or second-time directors. We have 10 film festivals around the country, and a first or second-time woman narrative director, and we give $1,000, which is, not a ton, but will help you get to the next festival or pay some bills. It's unrestricted, in an effort to kind of, bolster these directors, encourage these programmers to put more films by women, narrative films by women in their festivals. And we also try to have small get-togethers at each of the festivals where we get the women filmmakers together and maybe some of the women board members and a lot of men who are very supportive as well. So we'll hear it for the men. So this is our first ever Tangerine beanie. Thank you to the Neff Company who made these amazing hats for us. They are collector's editions. These ladies, these are the last 5. So if anybody, the first person who wants to give $100 to the Juice Fund can have my beanie, and it will be the last one. Dan Sartorius will have my beanie. Yeah, you need one? Okay, you'll give $100. All right, well. Yeah, well, you take a credit card. Amy's got the cards at the door. You just click a link and pay with a credit card. Yeah. Anyway, awesome. So that's my pitch for how we can all support the community and give back a little bit. Other than that, Tangerine is very much for profit. So we have these fantastic women here tonight. I've been lucky enough to be chatting with them a little bit. I want to get things started by showing some clips of each of their work and having them talk a little bit about what they want to talk about. We're going to start off with Kamal Sinclair, who is, Kamal is an artist in her own right, and she's also working with the New Frontier Storytellers Lab here at Sundance, and really, taking some, different chances and looking at new formats for filmmaking and storytelling. So, do you want to talk about what we're going to see?
Yeah, definitely. So, I had the privilege of being a fellow in the first New Frontier Story Lab in 2011, the inaugural lab, with a project called Question Bridge Black Males. And this is a project that is looking at interactive documentary, crowdsourced documentary, data visualization, storytelling, a lot of the trends in the New Frontier space that artists are exploring and innovating in. We had an incredible group of mentors, including Susan Bonds, who is literally a pioneer, a woman that is just knocking down the doors in this space and innovating, creating pathways for the future storytellers. And it manifested in an art installation that opened here in 2012 at the New Frontier Exhibition Space. And it's been on tour through museums such as the Brooklyn Museum, the San Francisco Exploratorium. It's in the Corcoran Gallery in DC right now. We've had 25 of those as in a 5-channel installation. And we also, this month, are launching our interactive version of the project. And this is not only a project to share the work that we've created in an interactive way, but it's also a crowdsourcing mechanism where we're trying to get 1% of the black male population in this country to represent and redefine black male identity in America.
That's great.
And that platform is the first group that we're asking to participate in this process of storytelling, and then hopefully opening up the platform to a universal platform where any identity group can take it, create community, create dialogue, tell stories, and represent and redefine themselves, and just really looking at the nature of representation in this documentary project. So we're going to show you our trailer, and it's kind of ironic that this is the first project we're showing in the Woman in Film panel, Question Bridge Black Males.
Can we cut the lights a little bit? Is that too much to ask?
Black men, do you want to get out of the situation that you're in?
What is the reluctance to taking responsibility for improving our communities?
Are your children better or worse off as a result of your involvement?
Why wouldn't you be happy with your son being gay?
Why are you so violent?
Why do you have that tape mentality?
Why are you afraid of being intelligent?
Why?
Why?
What I want to know is why.
I believe that we incorporated a lot of things that are unhealthy to us.
We are supposed to be tough,
I can't let him see no type of sucker.
along with various other stereotypes.
The level of mentorship in our community is not as strong as it possibly could be.
All right, my question is, I try to live good, but I'm surrounded by bad. And I want to know what it is I could do to do better and live peaceful, surrounded by all evil. How can I do that?
That's great. And you know what? So what? It's all men. It's a woman's, it takes a woman maybe to tell that story, and that's fantastic.
Well, I have to say that the women that are behind that project, and that's one of the things I think we'll talk about on this panel, is how much of a fingerprint that women have on a lot of the properties that we see that you wouldn't necessarily expect, and who are doing a lot of the work. The people that I've been in contact, we were able to design, the women that have been behind this project have been powerhouses in designing this for the purpose of, I have 2 black male sons. My father's a black male, my brothers are black males. So there's a great investment in me in that regard, but also this will be a black female project. It will be a Jewish woman project, a Latino male project. So it's not, this is just the first demographic in a much wider initiative. So yes.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so up next we have Mamrie Hart. who has her own YouTube channel, and it started out, I guess, at UCB, down the street from where I used to live in Chelsea, and it's super funny. And I'm not sure exactly what we're going to see here, but she has this fantastic string of shorts where she mixes a drink and gets drunk while she's doing it, and they're super funny. So I would encourage you to follow along at home if you want to get the ingredients and do it with her. But maybe you'll tell us a little bit what we're going to see.
So I have a show called You Deserve a Drink, where every week I create a cocktail recipe for who I think in pop culture had the worst week and really could use a drink. And so the 2 clips you'll see right now are just a little taste where it was me making one last week for Shia LaBeouf for Leaving Public Life. And then also one, I do holiday-themed ones as well, so there's a New Year's resolutions video, and it's really fun. You learn a drink, and it's intercut with very raunchy puns. So there's probably the F word upwards of 10 times in these 2 minutes. So if you're easily offended, again, it's only 2 minutes. And the one other thing I'll say is 90% of people watching this watch it on a smartphone, so that's my excuse for the sound and video quality. So bear with me.
Hi, and welcome to You Deserve a Drink. I'm Mamrie Hart, and who I think most deserves a drink this week? Well, it's everyone's favorite. I can't lie to you. It's no one's favorite. It's Shia LaBeouf. If you haven't heard, Shia just said that he is leaving public life after a series of Twitter rants, bar fights, and straight-up plagiarism. Well, good riddance, Shia. Here's a drink to send you off. Today we're going to make a Shia LaBeouf He's Nuts. All you hardcore fans probably know LaBeouf from Even Stevens, and all you hardcore Mamrie fans probably know me and LaBeouf with my Uneven Stevens. Both LaBeouf and Coke Stevens. For this drink, all you're going to need is pineapple juice, coconut rum, amaretto, and I'm garnishing with coquito nuts. Shia apologized for the plagiarism by hiring a skywriter to write an apology in the sky. Lots of people frowned on it, but you know what? Helps me out in a pinch. So to a normal-sized shaker full of ice, you're going to add a little bit of Malibu rum. Probably the shittiest thing that Shia did was take a well-known graphic novel and plagiarize it word for word into a short film from a Tumblr peeps. Plagiarism is like when someone uses a GIF that you made and starts a brand new thing instead of reblogging it from you, and then they get all these notes, and then you're like, what the fuck, I made that GIF! Hi, and welcome to You Deserve a Drink. I'm Mamrie Hart, and today we have a special edition of Alcohol Days. It's New Year's Eve, the night to give 0 fucks, but hopefully get 1 fuck, and then start your path of self-improvement 8 hours later on January 1st. In honor of this shit show of a holiday, we're going to make a New Year's Eve Great Expectations. This year, I'm going to exercise. Exercise my right to be as lazy as I fucking want to be, Dad. I'm just kidding, my dad's a really nice man. First thing we are going to do is we are going to take a lemon and get the rim of our glass wet. And then we are going to put it in our nerd dust. What I did is I took some normal nerds and then I crushed them. I crushed those nerds like I did in high school. I'm just kidding, I wasn't a bully. Be nice to everyone. You never know if they'll grow up rich.
Love it.
Hilarious.
It's a living.
You've got a Wolf of Wall Street fuck ratio over there. It's awesome.
Pushing boundaries.
Is there anything else you want to say about that, or are we good?
It's super fun.
Yeah.
It's a really fun career path. I'm really excited. I actually announced today that I'm writing a book with Penguin of You Deserve a Drink with drunken memoirs and cocktail recipes, and I'm really excited.
That's great. I am going to give a plug for our tangerine signature drink, which is called the Tangerini, and you can make it at home. We're only having beer and wine here tonight, I'm sorry, but vodka, Campari, and tangerine juice, and I guarantee you, super big hit. And every company should have a signature drink.
And if you need to hire me to make it,
no, she's going to be on our website and do our video. Okay, so this is... this is one of the most exciting shorts we've seen in a long time. Rose McGowan, who you probably recognize from her acting work, is also a very talented filmmaker, it turns out, and should be no surprise to anybody. She's here with a short. It's suspenseful and well done and expertly crafted, and I'll let you say a few words about that.
Thank you. Thank you. It's something that I wanted to do for a long time, kind of. I wanted to get out of the box that I was in, and I didn't know how. And I was telling Anne, the power went out in my house like 6 months ago, and I realized I hated acting with a passion. And I really hated fantasy, which is primarily what I did. But don't tell anybody and don't put it in page 6. Now, I actually don't hate the act of acting. I think it's a noble profession. But for me, living in Los Angeles and knowing that I would be a lot more popular if I was in Men in Black 75, making billions of dollars, it's the popularity thing. There's just so much that goes with it that was too hurtful. But I didn't even care about that. It was more about not having a voice, and I was stifled for a really long time. And I realized I was a party to that because I hadn't done anything about it. And when the power went out in my house, I just thought, you know what, it's time. And I was lucky. I had 2 amazing writer friends who agreed with me, and we came up with Dawn. I was wondering if someone who turned the lights back on could turn them back off. Thank you. Both of them?
Yeah.
It's a luxury. So it's an honor to be here, to be around women that make film, are for film, and are in the entertainment industry, because I think, I don't want to cite the statistics, they're grim, blah, 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 but I do believe in changing things, and I believe in stepping forward. What is the solution? Live in the solution. And the solution is just to step forward and honor your own creativity and find your own voice, because you deserve it and you're allowed to have it just as much as anybody else.
Well said.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, I can do that. Let's trade dresses. Steve said notice.
What the hell is this?
I like your dress.
You can't wear it. You won't be able to wear it.
What's that?
No. You need to take off the dress now.
It all went really well for her. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead. Thank you all for watching it. Thank you for including me.
It's a really suspenseful piece, really. Congratulations. Let's just leave these off for a minute. Tiffany Shlain is the founder of the Webby Awards, and one of the first people that I really met here at Sundance that was starting to work in this space and look at the interconnectivity of what we're all doing with her documentary called Connected. And I remember seeing a work in progress of it 6 or 7 years ago at an event and just being like, what the hell is that? This is amazing. She's doing a lot more things than that, but she's going to show us a clip of a new piece she's done. Yeah. We have to share.
I'm really glad I'm not at that work in progress screening 7 years ago, let's just say that. But I'm really happy to be here. It's a subject I care a lot about. I've had 4 films premiere at Sundance, and I feel really lucky because I feel like actually a lot of women at Sundance have really nurtured me. And a lot of my funders are women. They're men too, but majority is women. So I just feel like this is, whether it's a bubble, it's the most beautiful bubble there is because it's a very nurturing environment for women. And so what I'm going to show you is actually I was working on a film called The Science of Character, and I got a call out of the blue by a woman from AOL that's like, I really love your films, and I want you to do a series for AOL. And I was like really skeptical. I never made films for other people, and I was like, no, thank you. And she kept saying, complete creative vision, control, and nice budget, do whatever you want. And I just trusted her. I mean, she was like, really, she got me, and I trusted her. And I wouldn't normally trust a corporation, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And they really did give me, because I have a very particular style, and they gave me a lot of creative freedom. I had a blast making it. It's 8 episodes. And this one I'm going to show you is from an episode called Motherhood Remixed. And it was one of the only shows they did that was kind of an idea show. A lot of them were more reality-based. And it's just been a super exciting, creatively and just experience. So this is just like the first 3 minutes of one of the episodes.
I'm Tiffany Shlain. I'm a mother, filmmaker. I founded the Webby Awards. And this series is about how the future doesn't start somewhere far off in the distance. Today, with all the remixed roles and new technologies, there are new opportunities for women like me who love being a mother and love contributing to society in other ways too. And I realize I'm not necessarily talking about everyone's reality. I feel incredibly grateful for my life, and I've worked hard to get here. And I want to share this with you as a possibility, because I always knew that fitting into the existing corporate structure wasn't going to work for me. And now I get to use 21st century technology to own my own schedule and have some control over where I physically work and when I work, if I don't let the technology own me. Because really, it's all about time.
How do they do it? Where do they find all that energy? That seemingly inexhaustible store of pep and ginger?
Of course there are times when it's a struggle, like when I have to be in 2 places at once. But I think it's a big improvement to the choices my mother had to make. We're living in a very exciting time. Work and parenting roles have evolved throughout history, and we have to keep pushing those boundaries in the direction we want them to go. I mean, being a working mother, actually, let's get one thing straight. Mothers have worked since the beginning of time. So I think we need to go back to the beginning of time. Way back to the Stone Age. Stone Mama. Cave Mama with my little cave baby. That would be cave keeping, gathering food, and surprisingly, all of the cave dads were very involved in childcare. I mean, everyone today is talking about the paleo diet, but let's talk about paleo parenting. Or what if I was a mother in the Industrial Revolution, and my husband Ken would be working on machines in the factory, and I would be at home with the kids, and I would have loved to have been with the kids, but that was also around the time of the birth of cinema. So I would have wanted to be out there making the first films, and I wouldn't have wanted to be told that I have to stay at home. Now, I do love making a home, but I also love making things for the world.
Your job is to make a home. The American home.
Or what if I was a mother during World War II? The men would have all been off at war. Me and Rosie the Riveter, we would have been off in the factories working. But get this, the U.S. government opened enough daycare centers to support 1.6 million kids. And then as soon as the war was over, the men came home, they dismantled all of those daycare centers,
and men went back to work, and women went back to the kitchen. Don't get me wrong, I love to cook, but I'd prefer it to be my choice.
Now let's jump ahead to the 70s. Now, I remember this one because I was a kid back then, and I would watch my mother and her friends fighting for the right to be a mother and have their career. And that all brought us back to the 80s. I can't do that, because I don't know, am I dancing right for the 80s? In the next few decades, women flooded the workplace, but the workplace still wasn't totally ready for mothers. I mean, just think about how much has changed in just that one generation to today.
Right on. So I think that's actually a great starting point for our Empowering Women panel. Amy and I get asked to do a lot of panels about women and statistics and how bad things are, and talk about those things. And we have a no bitching policy, so we're not actually gonna dwell on the negative stuff. We're gonna talk about the empowering things and how we can all empower ourselves and work together, and what the new opportunities are for all of us. So Tiffany, tell me a little bit about how, becoming a mother and being an artist and doing that series changed, and how was it, how you expected it to be received, and where you expected it to be received?
Well, you'll notice in the bumper, I mean, I start by saying I'm a mother, which surprisingly so many women don't put that in their bio. And it's a big part of my life. I mean, I actually feel like we need to encourage everyone, men too, to put in their bios if they're parents, because it's like a huge part of our identity. And why do we not put that in? So, you know, I have a very particular style, as you saw. Actually, I was a lot more playful in this series than I have in my other films, which was very fun. But the show they had 15 shows that they launched last year. One was Sarah Jessica Parker and Gwyneth Paltrow. Mine was one of the kind of the idea ones. And it became one of the most popular shows. It got 20 million views in 3 months, which as a filmmaker was like crazy sauce. Mm-hmm. And it said that, I don't know, I was just these films were the closest films that came directly from my head. And I had the most fun. Fun is important. Yeah. And so I'm just so grateful. I feel like it proved to AOL what a big audience talking about this. I mean, I also talk about other stuff in the issue, like some of the episodes about robotics or the creative process or whatever, but it was exciting to me because as you were saying earlier, you know, any of our success paves the way for other success. I'm super supportive of women filmmakers. I mentor a lot. I have a lot of interns, and I'm just very happy and grateful.
So one of the things that we've been talking about, and really is a common theme here, is sort of taking matters into our own hands and creating something when there's something that doesn't exist and that we'd like to see and that we'd like to be doing. And this, you know, this platform, YouTube, you know, the internet, any of the new technologies, and just deciding during a blackout that you want to make a movie. Makes a difference in terms of also how you're connecting with your audience, right? I mean, so Mamrie, you're saying like there's a direct connection that you feel like you could speak to it, but when you started, you didn't necessarily think that would have happened if you had to go through the regular channels.
Exactly. I mean, that's the glory of the internet, is that it's creation that's completely unfiltered, and I can do exactly what I want, and what someone might... if I did have to go through some different hoops, they might say, you're pushing it a little too far, or maybe we can soften it up a little bit. I don't have to do that since I'm creating my work and it's going directly to the audience. And also, it's an immediate... you can see clearly that people want to see it. There's comments. It's not just numbers, even though it's nice to see what, you know, you can shape your content to what the numbers are. But I have a direct connection with my audience, especially on YouTube with comments, but then it opens it up to all the other social media platforms, Twitter, Tumblr, whatnot. And it's just really cool to see exactly what a 16-year-old girl liked about a video, and not just if they watched it or not. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, hi. Hey. Yeah. And so Rose, you and I talked a bit about how, you know, when you decided to make your short, you actually found support from a woman producer, and it was an experience that you didn't necessarily look for or expect to have, but obviously is very welcome. It's something that we talk about is trying to get more women to invest in films and more women to support women directors, because we feel like when the money's coming, people spend it on what they look like. And, you know, if we can find some more women to understand that it is a good investment or it's just something that's needed, that can change a lot too. So maybe you can talk about that experience.
I was really lucky. I met this amazing woman from RSA Black Dog, and Black Dog does commercials and music videos. And I was in Hong Kong, and I was talking to this woman, Colleen Haynes, who's the exec producer, and I was telling her what I wanted to do. And she said, great, let's do it when we go back. And I had been in an industry for so long that was, you know, I'm not bitching, but it was really male-dominated. It was just how it shook out. And I was not used to women. I was not used to anybody coming through for me, basically. And I was just like thinking, no, this will probably never happen. It'll be another thing that just da-da-da. And she came through and was a powerhouse and really just let me go totally and completely. And I got a great producer, John Wen, who's here. And I was very lucky to have this great support. I had a female first AD who is in the DGA, and she was awesome, one of the best I've ever worked with. And she's never been allowed to first a movie, though, a DGA movie. She's always allowed to be the second. And that, I think, even in the ranks in general, that needs to change. I feel like I was helped by somebody that in the music video and commercial world, there are more women in positions of power, or maybe women that are willing to help each other, and there are more female directors than in film. I've been lucky enough to experience acting where they've changed, I think it's 4 roles now that were for men. They changed it to be a woman for me. And they changed the 1 letter, and that was just in the first part of the name, usually. And that was really cool because I tend to like to play strong women. But being somebody still, even if you're playing a strong woman, it's still through the eyes and purview of a man. And, generally if you're a woman and you have boobs, it's pretty narrow box you're in. But more importantly, I think we're all storytellers, and I think that this woman responded to it, and that was great. And I don't know, I've kind of unfortunately made it my point in Hollywood to not know people in the industry because I've been disappointed a lot. And it's amazing to know that there's other women doing funds. I didn't know anything about this stuff. I didn't even know women funds existed for women filmmakers. So I was just out there in the woods and did it myself. But being the boss suits me, and what can I say? It's a fact. And being with other bosses suits me too, but women that are, it wasn't even about me being a woman. It had nothing to do with that. It was just, she just believed in the fact that I could do it. And that's a gender neutral thing and very refreshing, and we just need to get men to basically think in a more gender neutral fashion, and I think that's only going to happen with more women working, so it's like just an obvious choice. It just as easily as you can make that role for a man, you can make it for a woman. Sometimes you can't, but a lot of times it really doesn't matter. Just like race-wise, it doesn't matter which race it is.
So, Kamal, can you tell us what Sundance is doing in terms of fueling this new frontier storytelling initiative, and what kind of work you're seeing from women and how that's being supported?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I play the role of the senior manager of the New Frontier Story Lab. So I was able to be on the artist side and to feel supported and to go through that process. And I have the privilege of creating platforms for artists to realize their visions and for their voices to be heard. And I can say I've been there for a year, and I can say with a lot of confidence that the sincerity around this Women in Film initiative is just complete top to bottom part of the agenda of Sundance, from the leadership all the way down through to the intern. And so it's really, the first step was really taking a step back and saying, okay, where have we landed in terms of within Sundance alone compared to the U.S. Census and compared to what the industry looks like? How are we supporting women filmmakers? Who have we helped to launch their careers and so forth? And that research came back through a partnership with USC Annenberg, and we were really encouraged by what we saw. And as you said, there's a little bit of a bubble in this, and I think in general Sundance is an oasis away from a lot of the stuff that we have to deal with when it comes to the commercial world. There's just a lot of generosity within the institution, and a lot of discernment around what is selected and when and why and who is at the table. So we fared fairly well in terms of the industry and even in terms of the census and how we are supporting women filmmakers. But of course, there's a huge opportunity to make that even more robust, and also to be an influencer around how that shifts beyond Sundance. And so that's what the work is now, is to look at what that research says, we've done a lot of qualitative interviews to see where are the frustrations for women when they're trying to get their work made. And of course, a huge factor is financing. There's a lot of limitations and barriers to entry when it comes to that aspect of the industry. So there are initiatives that are being ideated and working with a lot of excellent partners who have been doing this work for a very long time and have deep insight into it, around how we can create pathways to money to see these visions realized. And Tangerine obviously is one of those great leaders in this space. There's also mentorship. We found things about confidence, about understanding, okay, I get to call myself a director? Yes, you get to call yourself a director. Yes, you are a director. You're not just the pretty face on the other side of the camera. And so there's a strong mentorship process that is being put in place, has been developing. Carolyn Labrasco has been a great leader at the helm of that. And then we're also looking at stereotypes and how women are kind of positioned to do the very specific type of genre movies and not necessarily being considered when you're breaking out of those boxes. So that's kind of on a macro scale what we're understanding. And then in terms of kind of this new digital storytelling space, I mean, it's a wild, I mean, it's wide open. Not only did I have the opportunity to be an artist and very independent and figure our way through what that looks like, I got a chance to mentor under Susan Bonds at 42 Entertainment for a year. And she's a powerhouse. She'll have 10 million people playing, Why So Serious and painting their faces like the Joker. And I mean, and she's running this creative team that have, I mean, she's in that position to make those decisions. And it was really inspiring to work under her and to see how she's able to walk into a boardroom and own that space without necessarily losing her sense of whatever that means. Instead of adopting and the kind of guise of masculine kind of models in this space, but to be herself. And I love the confidence that I learned in watching her be able to bring together resources and create amazing things.
I think that's a big deal. I think confidence, and I think supporting each other, and that's all of us up here had a long conversation about that upstairs. I would like to take a few questions so that then we can start eating and drinking, and we have an awesome band that's going to play too. So if anybody has a question. Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So it's the net neutrality change that was just passed, and how will that change? Who's telling stories, who's owning the stories? Maybe Tiffany, you may want to.
I have a lot of thoughts about that. Okay. First of all, you guys should all read the technology section every day, and you should go, how can this help my storytelling or distribution? How can I be engaged in this issue? I mean, it's so, this is a global brain that we're building with the internet. When I started the Webby Awards, there were 16 million people online, and now there's over 2 billion, and I think within 5 years, we're gonna get the entire planet. But we're building it together, and so many people, I think, technology is just an extension of us, and I feel like too many people think, oh, that's technology. And the whole kind of women in the room, I used to always be the only woman usually in the room talking about technology, which I feel like is really changing, but I guess I feel like we need to be empowered and be vocal and be knowledgeable about how we're shaping the web. I mean, every time, if you feel empowered, you can get more involved in the issue like net neutrality. It's not over. The web is the great equalizer. She's able to create a show, put it out there, get a response. It is the great equalizer on every level. So I hope you all feel really empowered to get engaged in this issue of net neutrality. I wrote a book and have a whole chapter on this. I just think we need to own it more. Instead of be like, oh, this net neutrality thing happened. What happened? Most people don't even understand it. So I guess I just hope everyone feels empowered to get engaged and know this is a web we're all building together and be vocal.
I was just going to say that, and also in the digital space, it is so empowering being able to make your own content. And for example, I made a film this summer that I'm releasing digitally in February with my 2 best friends. And normally when I think, well, how am I going to go from making videos on the internet where I get drunk to having someone trust me with money to make a film? Well, it's because combined we have 4 million subscribers. And so, those numbers don't lie. And the internet is it gives you such an arsenal walking into any room when you create your own content, be it internet, film, television, whatnot. And I also just think it's a medium that has taken a longer time to gain respect. And it's really nice to see.
And I think that's an issue for filmmakers in general, not just for women. I mean, I think it's level to the playing field a little bit more. But that any filmmaker or artist has control over what they're doing. But I don't think that that's necessarily a women's issue. Things have changed, and if you aren't a marketer and a distributor and don't wear so many hats right now when you're making movies, then you're really kind of missing out, and you should be more educated about that. You're going to say.
I also just wanted to throw in a statistic around mobile technology and the content that will be how audiences will be able to access content through that. It actually dwarfs just traditional internet. We're talking about 47% jump in smartphone ownership globally. So we have audiences that have never had a film infrastructure ever, who are now new eyes, new ears, new collaborators, co-creators, and participants in your story. So I think that's a huge thing to be aware of in terms of overcoming traditional boundaries and kind of barriers, because there's whole communities that have never been tapped in the way that they can be tapped coming in the next 5 years.
And I think even like it's funny kind of doing the Webbies and then finally having a web series, which is kind of, I don't know, circular. About 4 months ago, someone gave me something. It's a Chromecast, and I put it in my laptop, and I can watch the internet on my television very seamlessly. And so I was just thinking, like, you're doing a web series. I'm like, well, it's kind of a screen series. Because I'm watching the internet on my TV. I'm watching my TV on the internet. I mean, it's like, it's so blurry. What the hell is a web series or a film series or a TV series? Like, the boundaries are so blurred right now. And I think this is the year. And I have to say, I've been coming to Sundance every year. There's always some kind of panel we're discussing technology, internet and film. This is the year. I really feel like this is the year where it's happening, where I will completely change my last feature film was like, theaters and all holding back. I will never do that again. And I feel like a lot of film, what had the stigma of day and date and all this stuff, I just feel like this is the year where everything popped. Yeah. So I just feel like what you're saying, these so many, all the people, right, that never had that network and are gonna get smartphones soon.
Have them. It's a 47% leap. I'm talking about billions of new audience members through those screens.
And so I do have a question about the screens, because Rose and I were talking about when you're creating content, how are you thinking as a filmmaker? Are you thinking somebody's going to watch it on an iPhone? Are you thinking about how it's going to be done? And I know when you were making your short, you had to keep some of that stuff in mind at least, but what was that process for you?
I was actually pretty oblivious. No, I didn't. I just wanted to create, and I didn't actually go to the thought of where it would be seen. I just was hoping for festivals, and now it's empowering and inspiring to know I can hope for more. Mm-hmm. And I am one of those people who's not hyper-educated in technology, not illiterate, but not overwhelmingly capable of it. And I certainly don't understand, in terms of distribution, that model. But I have a show I'm creating that is only right for that, and I've pitched it to a couple of places so far online, but they're owned by like Sony. Mm-hmm. So they have advertisers that they have to, and it's too racy for them, something to that effect. So this is going to be great. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How are people and women going to find out about what you're doing, about the next steps, about how they can get help? Because I had no idea.
Well, there's a press release that went out today. There's going to be a robust. I think this beginning is this R&D period. It's been a lot of conversations with people that have been on the ground, and now it's the time of connecting with those partners and rolling out new initiatives, especially this mentorship initiative. So I don't know what it's going to look like yet, and I can't comprehensively tell you, but I know that definitely look out for it because it's coming.
And I can just tell you, having just been in business for a year with this company, women are. Everybody, filmmakers in general know what we're doing, and our electronic script file, if we printed it, would probably fill this room. It's crazy the amount of content that's been, So I think word is getting out, and Tiffany has a fantastic newsletter. There are places to find out information.
One thing I want to bring up with just the opportunities of the web that. It was really interesting creating a series of 8 really short films that people may watch all at once, which is kind of a totally different way to create. Because I had to imagine, well, somebody might just watch 1, or they might watch 8. And that, just as a storyteller, it was a real kind of great creative challenge. And everyone uses this word, binge watching, which I hate, especially as a woman, which sounds like a visual eating disorder. And I like visual feasting because a lot of my audience does watch them all in a row, but they watch them out of order, which is really odd. But I think this whole way that we experience things as filmmakers and as receiver. I mean, if I like a show, I'm psyched to just watch more. That's empowering as a viewer. So I just think this whole, television was all about, and film theaters is all about scarcity. And I value curation. I value Sundance's curation. There's real value in curation, but there's such empowerment in just the opportunity that is before every person in this room to just have an authentic, particular vision that might be totally different than everyone's, and just put it out. I feel like you're like throwing spaghetti on the exceeding wall of the internet, and you're gonna get an audience. There's gonna be people out there that are gonna respond to you and your work.
I think that just kind of piggybacking off what you said about paradigm shifting around what we think people want to consume, I think what I love about the democratization of this storytelling is that the big boys, quote unquote, are finding out what people really want to consume. And that's the difference, is that we don't have to kind of craft our creativity into the box of what the marketing statistics say. And we're actually breaking boundaries of what that looks like because of niche audiences, because of community, because your community follows you from Kickstarter all the way through. They're your marketer, they're your producer, they're your, and that the big kind of companies are looking at Kickstarter for who they're going to support next. So there's, it's an interesting flip in having to narrow yourself. You get to expand yourself.
All right, one question, and then we're going to wrap it up and drink. So this is a question about interpreting the role of women in the creative process. Do you mean behind the camera or as characters?
Both, because you're doing all of it, sounds like.
Yeah. You want to share?
Yeah, one of my episodes on The Future Starts Here is called The Creative Process in 10 Acts. I would love for you to just watch it, because but I think, like my bumper, I'm putting a lot of feminine, I'm putting it out there as my bumper. So I think that I'm trying to like I said, starting with I'm a mother. Like I mean, it was like the first thing that came out of my mouth when I started that bumper, which took me like forever to make. So I think I was trying to reframe how people saw me. I'm not just a film director. I'm not just founder of the Whiteboards. I'm a mother first, which is kind of the way. Interestingly, and I'm married and I've been married for 16 years. I thought about it later. I didn't say I'm a mother, I'm a wife, which was, I think, a choice, because I feel like that role, I thought about it later, like, why didn't I say that? But I think the mother part felt more, I want to put it out there. Anyways.
I can speak to, I'm not a mother, but it's really generally frowned upon, or it's starting to get better for actresses to have children. But it was something you did in secret. And it was something you never would go to a premiere like for Frozen and take your little kid to that. You would hide it away because then the men wouldn't see you in a sexual light. And that sucks.
I think that's why I said I'm a mother.
And I'm proud of you for saying that.
Yeah. We've been actually really, really pleased and surprised at the amount of projects that come to us that say, we have women producers, women director, we want a woman DP, we want, and that's, really important as far as what we're hearing from a lot of artists right now. Yes.
If you watch the end of the episode, which I hope you do, I have an animation that shows mother, father, and the roles we did, and then the word merges to parent. I swear you have to watch the animation. We spent so long on that animation, so I agree with you.
Yes. Oh, no, another Seed and Sparker.
I know, we're everywhere.
That's Seed, that's Sparker.
I can speak
That's
to
a big
having
one.
had bad
Right.
comments for years. And it's demoralizing, and you try not to read them, and somehow they're insidious and they filter through. And it fucks with you badly.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And the viciousness for just attempting to exist is something that saddens me about humanity. I don't know, short of taking the comment section away, that there's anything that can be done.
Yeah.
On my side of it.
Yeah.
For me personally, with the comments and with the just the anonymity of the internet is just insane, and I would love to see some of these teenagers say these things to my face, because they would not. Because the two times I've had a little too much wine and responded to someone's comment with a very positive, well, thanks
Only
for
two?
the views. It was immediately retracted with, oh no, I love you. No, that was totally misinterpreted. It's just to get a response, of course. It's always just to get a response. And my philosophy on it is I've been very vocal about not giving a shit what anyone thinks, because I'm just going to do what I want anyway. And what I've seen, which I love because the majority of my audience is girls 16 to 24, is seeing that play out as well, and really just leading by example of not, of just saying, I don't care, I am awesome. And I'm very vocal about it, and I think especially in the internet, anyone that has that position should also comment on it. Yeah, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
I think we have to end with all of us being awesome. Okay. I would say thank you guys for all sitting here and being so quiet. I was like, a panel? Nobody wants to talk about this. We should be doing it. Go ahead. I think all of us go through that, and you get to a certain point in your life or your career where you just decide what you're going to let through and what you think you can keep out. And I would guess that we all have a really good support systems and people that have been through it, and mentors, men and women, I think, who can help with that. Rose's experience is very different than all of ours because she's judged physically first, and we don't have to go through that, thankfully. I mean, we do on a one-on-one basis, and Amy and I will walk into meetings, and you can just tell, like, eyes gloss over, like, oh, they're a certain age, oh, they're women, oh, whatever, and you can see it happening, it's happening, and you just have to figure out, okay, which kind of person is this, and which armor do I put on to get through that piece, I think.
And we need to continue being authentic to who we are and pushing forward, because we worked on an opera this year over the Story Lab, and it's an opera about Robert Moses and Jane Jacobs. And I don't know if you know the story of this battle. And one of the harshest things he said to them is, "You're all a bunch of mothers," right? And like just dismissing the protests that they were doing against the kind of urban planning that he was doing that obviously was destroying communities. And it's just, for me, that word mothers is so primed in our culture for so many hundreds of years that we have got a lot of deprogramming to do. And that only happens when whole and comprehensive and authentic images and narratives and people are being themselves in public for people to shift that consciousness. Yeah. And if you look at the Harvard Implicit Association test, all the social science research they're doing about our own biases, whether we want it or not, as feminists, even, you still have these biases deep in your subconscious. And when they looked at all the data, they said there's only two things that changes those biases around stereotype. One is intimate and true friendship or close intimate contact, and the other is whole, comprehensive, and authentic narratives and images. So the work that's being done here is literally changing our brain structures.
Amen. I had a film that was at Sundance in 2006 called The Tribe, and it looked at American Jewish identity through the history of the Barbie doll. Because I'm Jewish, most people don't know I am, and I used Barbie kind of as a shill to explore identity, assimilation, and YouTube. Back then, it was like 2006 and 2007, had this program where they were curating films, and it was a short. And they curated The Tribe. And I remember they called me, they were like, we're going to put this on the homepage, and I just want to prepare you because you're going to receive a lot of anti-Semitism. And I was like, okay, I can handle this. And I think it was interesting because they prepared me, and oh my God. But I was prepared. I have to say, like, just her warning me, and I stopped reading the comments, and I just, like, I do believe in my work. I do have that support system, but I actually don't. It's interesting. I do not spend a lot of time on the comments. I feel like my authentic fans tweet about me, write me emails, or on Facebook, but I find that the anonymity, and I actually feel like the web, since I started the Webbies, we are really moving away from anonymity. I mean, since we started the web, it used to all be about that, and now with Facebook, your picture's right there. So I feel like we're moving, and when you have that photo and your identity, you're not as mean. And the last thing that I'll say is that actually I think the web, on a more hopeful note, plays to all of women's strengths. The web is about empathy. It is about collaboration. It's about connecting. And that is what women are great at. So I like to think of it not as the World Wide Web, but the Woman Wide Web. That's what I'll say.
All right, that will do it for us. That's a great note to end with. I want to thank Kamal and Mamrie and Rose and Tiffany and YouTube. And y'all get a card and give some money to Tangerine Juice Fund and have a drink and have fun. Thank you.